that don't know or don't have full context, so when I was 8 years old, I was sexually abused by a neighbor that lived across the street from me, an older teenage boy. This happened for about a 6-month period of time. At the age of 12, I was exposed to pornography. By the time I was 19, I was a porn addict, highly promiscuous. I was just trying to deal with all that pain. Yeah. Gave my life to Christ at 20.
How you doing?
What's going on?
It's an exciting day today. It is very hot in LA today, I gotta say. Oh, I don't know what happened today, but it is hot. How's everybody doing? We're gonna wait for some folks to come on.
Well, we want to have everybody
Richard.
Come and
Nichols,
join
hi.
my mom's
Hi,
YouTube show
What's it?
and subscribe. So make sure that you're coming to YouTube to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we also wanted to say thank you. You know, on our little dances that we do, you're the ones who told us you wanted us to do dances. And as of a few minutes ago, we're at 1 million views on that dance. So that's kind of like really crazy. It's the food challenge where you do all that. Challenge. Yeah, the breakfast challenge. So thank you on that. That was really very cool. And what else do we have to do in a little housekeeping? Talk about my jewelry. Okay, my jewelry is, of course, from Mack Artistry. That's my sister who did that.
But there he is. All right.
Now, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to meet you. Yeah, we're a bunch of old folks. So
y'all are older and you're legends.
Like to be your parents for sure. Oh my gosh, we're so excited to meet you. Usually we have people that we've known forever because we've been around forever, but we're so excited to meet some of the, I guess you would call new blood out there. And so we thank you so much, and we've been watching your ministry. My daughter's the one who really recommended because she's a big fan.
Big fan, yeah.
Thank you.
And we want to say hello to both you and your lovely wife,
Juliet.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Now, today, Claude wrote a little something, and he wants to read that to you.
Normally he writes something about our guests, an introductory piece. And so I had the pleasure of writing one today about you.
Awesome. Okay.
So, Elder Lataillade is...
It's all good. It's all good. What is your salvation experience? That's a question whose answer often speaks volumes of a person's walk with the Lord, and if called, the impetus behind their ministry. When I saw the video of Tim Ross telling his story, I could understand how this young man could come to pastor a dynamic, multi-ethnic, multi-generational church, Embassy City Church in Irving, Texas. Being blessed with insight and inspiration from his personal walk with the Lord, Vicki, he has been able to provide transformative teaching that has impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. Please welcome with us today, Pastor Tim Ross, to Comfortable Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate it. I do.
Now, did you live in LA at one time, or what?
I was born in Inglewood.
Thank you.
We live in Inglewood.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was born in Inglewood. I lived off of Crenshaw and Arborvitae, right across from Fred Price's old church, which is now First Church of God.
What? Yeah, that's where I got saved.
At First Church of God?
With Fred Price.
With Fred Price. Okay, got you. Yeah, in that building. Yeah. So we lived across the street in some apartments from that location.
Yeah.
I know all those apartments.
Yeah. My friend Jeremy Dixon is now the pastor of that still standing church.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a small world. Now, was your father in ministry as well, or?
Yeah. So my parents pastored a church called God's Way Holiness Fellowship Church in West Covina, California.
Yeah, because do you favor your father?
I do favor my dad a lot. Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Okay, because we feel like we know you or your parents or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So my father's whole family and background is Church of God in Christ.
Okay.
And so our roots are, the Ross roots are deep there.
Okay.
My grandfather, Bishop C.H. Mason, laid hands on my grandfather and put him in ministry. So that's how far those roots go back.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're so glad to talk to, excuse me. And what we like to do is we just like to talk like we'd be talking on the phone. There is nobody else here.
Sweet. That's how I talk.
Yeah. And we want to talk about, we like talking about current events. Okay. So we're going to throw some current events at you because that's where people really are. That's the world we really live in today. And we want to see how it meshes with what you're doing. And one of the big things this week that everybody's talking about is Michael K. Williams passing a drug-related death.
Yeah.
And then there was a comedian from here in LA, Fuquan, I don't know his full name, a drug-related death.
Yep.
And check this out. He was even in a men's group in ministry at church.
Michael was.
Michael was.
With Joe Budden.
With Joe Budden.
Oh my gosh.
Men's group. And so, I wanted to ask you, Pastor, what do you think about all this?
What do you say?
What do you say about all this?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm heartbroken. When I saw the news about Michael's death, it was devastating, and he's a brilliant mind. He was a brilliant person, incredible actor. But I'm gonna tell you my thoughts in sequence. First, I was heartbroken. The second person I thought of was Zachary Timms.
Oh, yes.
Who was a pastor out of Florida.
Pastor with a drug-related
heroin. I was in Los Angeles. If my memory serves me correctly, I was serving with Bishop Kenneth Omer at the time.
That's our church. That's how you've been faithful.
He is one of my favorite people. Please tell him I said hi. Okay. He's one of the dearest people in my life. So please tell him I said hi. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was in a hotel when I got the news, and that's why it impacted me so greatly, because they found him in a hotel dead. I was in a hotel when I got the news, and it was so sobering to me. And what I realized with Zachary Timms' death, and then with Michael's death, with the comedian Fuquan and two other people that died as well.
Right.
Is that people are in pain.
Yes.
And when we don't have words to express our pain, we medicate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that I found so heartbreaking with somebody like Michael, somebody like Fuquan, is that Michael could memorize all the lines necessary to become another character in a movie, but he didn't have the right words and the lines to become who he needed to be as a person.
Wow, that's deep.
And with Fuquan, I did stand-up comedy for 2 years. So
get out of town.
I did. Yeah. No, I was in Dallas by this time.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah. So with Fuquan, to have the comedic timing to bring joy to other people's life, but find it absent in his own heart and his soul. These are cautionary tales for us. Like, if we don't, whatever doesn't come up and out of our word, here's my statement I always say. My boys know it verbatim. If I brought them in here right now, they finish the sentence. But whatever doesn't come up and out of our mouth through words will come up and out of our body through actions.
That's what I said.
Right.
And all you're seeing in what has happened tragically with them is that they didn't have the words And because they didn't have the words, they found actions. And unfortunately, those actions led to their demise.
And it seems like we're not getting past it. We're just getting hip in a way to mental health issues and all that. But and you're right, but we still don't have the words. Is there something we can do about it? I feel like we've just got to get past some of this stuff.
We do, and it's I'll use two different words, but they're synonyms: therapy and counseling, counseling and therapy. I don't care which order you want to put it in. We have to remove the stigma around therapy and counseling. I grew up in holiness, sanctified Pentecostal churches. And what I found out with my own conversion experience, I gave my life to Christ January 14th of 1996. And so what I found in my own life is that the only thing a good altar call ever did for me was open up a can of worms.
Interesting.
That's so good. That's so good.
Okay, like the sermon hits you, you like, oh my God, Jesus, please. And you get to the altar and you crying and you're crying out for deliverance. And the altar call was step one of deliverance.
Yeah.
It was you being aware that there was something wrong that needed to be fixed. There was an area in your life that needed to be addressed. And now we have to move past that and we have to unpack that stuff. And we got to get these layers off of us. You know, the day that this is John 11. So in John 11, that's the story of Lazarus coming out of the grave.
Right.
So when Jesus shows up that day, he only does the one thing that the people can't do, and that's resurrect Lazarus. He doesn't move the rock.
That's right.
And he doesn't do any unwrapping.
Right.
He says, I'm going to come do the thing you can't do. Right. So when he gets there, he asks them, show me where you buried him. Then he asks them, move the rock. Then after he does the part he can do, then he says, then y'all need to unwrap him. And I think altar calls are the Lazarus come forth moments.
Yes.
But the grave clothes, that's a process to get out of those. Because it didn't take you a minute to get wrapped up in it. It's probably not going to take you a minute to get unwrapped.
Yeah.
So when we don't have these spaces and places where people can be loose from that pain,
Right.
they just hop around with it.
So
right,
true.
and I think they feel that so much. Like when we do go to a church, a lot of times we're playing a character. We don't come with our real selves there, and you know, I've just been really thinking about we've got to do something about this, and this whole thing. Oh, I lost one of my earrings. Well, that's okay. This whole thing where we go to church, say hallelujah and all that, but we're still just as broken, if not more broken, as when we came.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we were wondering what you thought about that. And then also, I mean, I heard your story, and I was pretty much in shock, but it was pretty poignant that what you went through at the age of 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if you really, and I'm praying that it's real, if you really got through this, how did you do it, and how can somebody else do it? I'm really serious, because, you know, a lot of times pastors will tell their story, and you'll find out later, like with Zachary Timms and stuff like that, that they're still really walking around with this pain, and they're taking drugs and doing everything else in the background.
Yeah. So for those of y'all that don't know or don't have full context. So when I was 8 years old, I was sexually abused by a neighbor that lived across the street from me, an older teenage boy. This happened for about a 6-month period of time. At the age of 12, I was exposed to pornography. By the time I was 19, I was a porn addict, highly promiscuous. I was just trying to deal with all that pain. Yeah. Gave my life to Christ at 20, and realized that's when I got the revelation that, man, altar calls they just keep pointing to the fact that I need some help, right? So I went to the deliverance line for lust. I went to the deliverance line for all the stuff, right? You know, and after I fell out and got up and somebody caught me and put a blanket over me and anointed my head with oil and did all that, I still needed some help. I was like, okay. So either I don't know how to do altar calls right, or there has to be more than this. Yeah. Yeah. So I started going. Say that again.
I said, otherwise I just need to live at the altar and then I can't move.
Exactly. I can't go home no more.
I can't go home.
I gotta get a sleeping bag and stay here. So
I said, I'm messed up.
That same question too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got with a counselor, and we started walking through. We stopped talking. Here was the thing that I knew. Okay, this is definitely different, because I just wanted to come through. How do I get rid of porn addiction? How do I stop masturbating? How do I stop dealing with all these thoughts that are in my mind? And they were like, yeah, no. That's the root of the situation. That's not the fruit.
Right.
They were like, we don't want to talk about the root of it. That if you came in here with alcohol, we wouldn't be talking about alcohol. If you came in here and you just were a chain smoker, we wouldn't be talking about cigarettes. All of those are symptoms of your pain.
Yeah.
That's not your pain. That's the symptom of your pain. That's what you use for medication. That's your Tylenol.
Right.
So we're not here to talk about your prescription. We're here to talk about your injury. And that set me on a journey to start dealing with my injuries. My injuries were obviously sexual abuse. But subsequent to those injuries are the two core traumas that I went on a painful journey of discovery to go find. And what I found out was the core traumas of my pain were abandonment and attachment issues.
Oh, yes. Can we talk?
Yeah, because of the sexual abuse that I didn't share with my parents until I was 19 years old. From 18 to 19, for 11 years, I lived in silence. So I was detached from my parents in terms of getting safety, and then I felt abandoned because I was alone.
Now, did you blame that on your parents, or?
No. Let me just say before I answer that question, I'm still in counseling. So I'm a lifer.
Okay.
I didn't get counseling for this and then I got fixed. Yeah, no, I'm still in counseling, right? So I think every person on earth needs a good masseuse and a good therapist. If you get them two things, we can disarm all the nuclear warheads in the world. But what happened was I started to when I was 8 years old, I became my abuser's protector.
Yes.
Because at 8 years old, the thought I had was, if my daddy finds out, he'll kill this boy.
Yes.
So he didn't, when I was abused by him, he wasn't like, you better not tell your parents or I'll kill you. No. My thought was, my daddy will go to prison for life. Because there will be no,
right.
Hey, let's pray for this boy. My daddy, who loved Jesus, would have murdered that man and gladly skipped into the jail cell. You hear me? So, yeah. So my dad, I became my abuser's protector, and a lot of kids that are abusers that have been abused, they protect their abuser. Because they don't want to break anybody's heart. Well, I don't want to tell my mom because I don't want her sad. I don't want to tell my dad because I don't want him mad. I don't want to tell my aunt because you know what I mean. And this is a childhood neighborhood friend that my parents obviously there was trust that was built, and that's how predators act. When I remember my parents had to go through their own journey of healing from it because they had that guilt of how could I let this happen. My mama, when we went to the mall, she stood in front of the men's restroom, counted down 3 minutes, and if we weren't out by then, she walked in.
That's right.
Mom has no shame. So we're not dealing with parents that were, we weren't neglected. You know what I mean? None of that. My parents, when the street light came on, we had to come in the house, right? Like I had some great parents. But abusers prey on the trust that's been given to them.
Yes.
And so trust is nothing more than I don't put my guard up around you.
Right.
Yes.
And abusers wait until they gain that before they start abusing.
Right.
So there was nothing that they could do.
Right. Right.
And so I never laid that at my parents' feet. And I have forgiven my abuser. Because that was for my own healing. Oh, of course, I know, from what I knew of his parents, I knew that he didn't have the childhood I grew up with. So he turned that pain outward.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, this is real, and this is why we're seeing the things that we're seeing with people dying with drugs, from pastor to a great actor. And you said something too about success. Success is not success, or something like that you were talking about. And I thought of that too when when we were talking about Michael K. Smith. But I've been through that in my own life. You know, people look at us and, oh, we're so major and successful, but there was a lot of pain there. What do you say about that, and how the church itself starts really beginning to heal from some of these?
Yeah, what I found out is there's two things that there's two identifying markers for apostolic ministry, and that is authenticity and transparency. Mm-hmm. Jesus, who was our chief apostle, was the first one to come and put on display authenticity and transparency. You know, there's a reason why in a glorified body he would keep his scars in his wrist and in the side of his torso, right? Because there was going to be somebody that didn't just need to hear it, they needed to see it, and not just see it, they needed to touch it, and not just touch it, go in it.
Yes.
Right.
And so that's what we see in Jesus. That's what we see in Peter's ministry. That's what we see in Paul's ministry. Second Corinthians 12. You know, there's a thorn that's in my flesh. I asked 3 times for it to be taken away. Right. He said, "My grace is sufficient." That level of authenticity and transparency is where other people's breakthroughs are found.
Right.
So if we had more authenticity and transparency from the pulpit about pain, but here's the thing I'll say. You can't take people to where you've never been. Okay. I remember the first 5 years of my salvation. I'm talking to mentors. I'm talking to pastors outside of my parents. And I'm asking them, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? And the answers I was getting, I thought to myself, no, this can't be the answer. You know, do the best you can, and go
over me going, yeah. And I'm like, I need some tools.
Yeah. Like, I need handles, right?
Do when I wake up in the morning, do I go left or do I go right?
That's exactly right. I was getting feedback like, hey, do the best you can, and then when you fall, just pray real quick and just get up and keep moving. And I was like, is that freedom? Like, that's what freedom looks like? So I heard several variations of this, and then I realized, oh, y'all not free.
That part.
That's it right there.
Because you can't take people to where you haven't been, right? If you've not been to Compton, you can point in a general direction,
right?
But you can't give nobody no specifics.
You
can't call out the streets.
And what street to go on and what street not to go on. You don't know.
That's exactly right. So I just started to go, oh, I guess this is a journey that I need to go on for myself and figure it out, because people can only take you to the last place they've been.
Yeah.
You know, and the truth of the matter is, we're all on a journey.
Yes, absolutely.
We have to walk this journey and learn and grow and strive. We're all on the same journey. And there's if you don't think you're on a journey, then you need to stop and check yourself.
It's so true.
But you know, we see here, this is all about modeling, I think. And have people seeing things that they can relate to in terms of authenticity and all that. And I was reading something today. I just, it may have to do with everything else or not, but it's one of these topical things where Nick Cannon was talking about, they were asking him how many babies he was going to have. And he literally said, he will have as many as God allows. And then I thought, there's something wrong with this whole thinking. And then I started thinking about what you were talking about. Are we going to live the life like the hip hop people live? Are we going to live the life like, the skaters live? Are we going to live a life like the actors live? And I really don't understand completely how Jesus would live it today.
But we got to give the right context for Nick Cannon. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of kids. That's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just the context where he's coming from.
Well, is that he's not into marriage or anything like that anymore.
Not
no more.
He was going to Noel Jones's church at one time. City of Refuge. And
now he wilding out like his show.
That part.
He's wilding out like the show. He done wild all the way out. And,
yep.
I'm just wondering, when people see this, I mean, how do you feel about all these lifestyles, especially in the music industry? We got Lil Nas X, baby. That's some kind of a mess right there. We got Nick Cannon. We've got Kanye West. We've got Kanye West and Drake. Which record do you like the best? But we're not seeing anything that's really good to live by. And so how do we, I know I tried when we were doing the music to really put out music that was competitive with everything that was out there. But now, the rocks are crying out. You got Kanye, you got Snoop, I'm not saying they're wrong for doing it, but I'm just wondering where our models are for us.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of opportunity right now. I'll say the body of Christ has a lot of opportunity right now. When you see this much, I'm using an old school King James word. When you see this much wanton behavior, okay, out here in these streets, I actually get encouraged because I've always seen in Scripture that the lifestyle of the believer shines brighter the darker it gets. It becomes more attractive the darker it is. And so when I see somebody like Nick Cannon, again, when I going through, Juliet will tell you, I've been saved for 25 years. I've been in counseling for 23 of those years. She'll tell you, Tim is the most counseled man you'll ever meet. And as I think a byproduct of that counseling, subsequent to that counseling, I feel like I have a honorary PhD in psychology because I've done so much work on myself. It's easy for me to pick it up on other people. Nick's expression with multiple partners and babies is nothing more than his heart's cry for a connection.
Come on, let's go.
But somewhere along the way, he doesn't trust himself or the partner to make that connection exclusive. So he comes up with a narrative to justify why it would be with all these different people.
Exactly.
It's just it's a manifestation of pain, right? Little Nas X is struggling with not just the identity of sexuality, but the identity of individuality.
Come on.
And so when I hear his heart, I go, oh man, I need to pray for this dude, because at the core, he wants to solidify his identity. He doesn't know how. The answer is Christ. Right. Christ didn't say he was a truth. He said he was the truth.
But he's got church pain.
Huh? Say that again.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I was saying he's got so much church pain.
He
Also.
does. And when the difficult part, one of the difficult byproducts of growing up in church is separating those that hurt you in church or the hypocrisy you saw in church from the one we actually go to church for. Right. And so in our pursuit of Jesus, we have to be around people and sometimes go through people to get to Jesus. And some of those people can harm you, they can hurt you, they can ostracize you, they can distract you, they can corrupt you, they can abuse you. And because everybody that's in church came off the street. So we can't act like the people that got into the church came from a church to another church and came straight out the hospital to the church. Everybody that's in the church came from outside of the church. And so this is why Paul's letters were so specific to the people he wrote. Corinth was a very freaky city. So he had to deal with stuff like a guy sleeping with his stepmom, right? Because that's what was going on at that church, you know, in that town. So I just feel like Nas X, you know, Nick Cannon, Kanye, Drake being a certified lover boy and talking about who he's been with and all the people, and Drake has low self-esteem.
That part.
Bottom line, you know, whoever's watching, you love Drake, whatever. Drake has low self-esteem because if you didn't have low self-esteem, you wouldn't be going out of your way to prove who you are. A person with self-esteem is already comfortable with who they are, and they know that from the inside out because they know whose they are.
Yes.
So I'll give you one more example, then I promise I'll shut up on this.
No, this is you. I'm talking too much.
Okay, so I used to rap. I started rapping when I was 9 years old. I was a battle rapper in my teens. We almost got signed to a record deal when I was 16 years old. I would have wound up being on Death Row Records label. Because we got signed to we were going to get signed to a deal that would have got absorbed into Death Row with Suge and Snoop and Dre and all of them. So obviously God blocked it. Thank you. And none of that happened, right? But hip hop raised me. Gospel and hip hop raised me. So those are my two genres. Those two genres speak to me stronger than any other musical genres. And a couple of years ago, when Kendrick Lamar's album came out, I listen when an artist comes out with an album, I listen to it straight through because I hear it like a conversation. I don't want to interrupt it, so I listen to it straight through. And when I listened to Kendrick's album, I counted how many tracks that he asked us to pray for him.
That part, yes.
I think it was like 11.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how many tracks was on that damn album, but I think out of 11 tracks out of however many was on there, he said, pray for me. And I'm like, I need to be praying for this brother because he's clearly asking for it. And who's going to actually do it and not just judge the dude?
Exactly.
Right. And so I'm praying for I'm praying for all of these artists and praying that they get in contact with people that know how to talk to them where they are without the person talking to them becoming who they are.
Exactly. Right. The fascination.
Because yeah, we need people that are so anchored in their relationship with Jesus that they can talk to some of these people and not be so enamored by them that they can't give them truth.
It's very rare. Let me tell you, it is very rare. I've been around a lot of them, and I've been sitting there and I've been watching. And for gospel artists, a lot of them really want to be and have what the secular artists have. They want to be like them in so many ways, and if they get around it, it causes a shift. I've seen it more times than not.
Not just with gospel artists, with pastors as well. We went through a whole decade where pastors turned into life coaches, and you know that God is opening a door for them in Hollywood, and God's gonna let me evangelize them. And no, the demons evangelized you, sir and ma'am, and you turned into somebody else. They didn't come any closer to the Lord, but you got real close to they door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's just it's a whole thing. But the other part of it, I think, is we touched a little bit on the church and all of that. But there's a part that I have to do for my daughter. How? We talked about it with Kenton Jones a little bit. But how are people supposed to date today? And we're talking about sexuality and all that. They don't go out and date. You got COVID. You can't go out with anybody. What's a person supposed to do? Pass away?
And if you're trying to do something, you got to have sex to go to take it to the next level.
Right.
So it's a whole situation. It's kind of messed up for young people right now.
Well, it is. It's broken. So I was a young adult pastor for 4 years at the Potter's House, and I had 18 to 30, and I heard every configuration known to man of how people were trying to date. The times have changed. The issues have not. When you have a person that has made a commitment to Jesus Christ and is going to follow that commitment into their relationships, whether dating, potential marriage, stuff like that, you're going to weed out a lot of phonies a lot of the time. Where I encourage single people is to not become discouraged for the standard that they set.
Right. Okay.
And to not to buy into the lie of the enemy that because they set their standard, that means they're going to be alone.
That's right.
I hear you, but like with my daughter's group and with others' groups, beautiful, intelligent women, they're not meeting guys that they're just not, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And we when we were talking with Canton, we were trying to find places. We were talking about the library, the restaurant.
They have all these examples
of places, because I know for me, church was the last place I wanted to meet a brother, because I had not good experiences with that.
For clarity, we're not talking about changing the standard.
Right. No, I understand that perfectly.
Talking about
how do you even find where do you even find the potential mate in an area? Yeah.
I keep having conversations with them. This has been a process. Even last year, they wanted me to do online dating. I had a panic attack. Said no. My dad was like, I'll set it up on Match. I was like, I don't trust it. I did start Hinge. I don't like it. Hinge it's better. But my personal thing is, I'll be 40 in October, so I'm older, but I also
I don't know why you keep telling your age.
It's fine. But I have a standard, and so I think even sometimes maybe by the way that I look, some men have a certain thought process of what I should be doing in the first few weeks just to prove myself that I'm engaged and that I'm interested in them. There really is almost like a lack of friendship building in that beginning dating stage, where I just want to know, do you believe in UFOs and aliens like I do? Do you like sci-fi? Like, what was it like when you watched Lovecraft Country? I'm not getting into that. I'll get calls that are way too late. FaceTime, no clothes on.
And some of these are artists.
It doesn't matter. All of it is the same, but it's personal for them because they want grandkids, obviously want to be married, so it's personal.
First let me say I empathize with you. There's a frustration for you and so many women like you who have two parents, was raised right, love God, have integrity, character, waiting, doing it the right way. And this has been something I've been addressing since my early 20s. I don't think we have taught men how to pursue women. It's not on you. You ain't doing nothing wrong.
The men, it's a men problem.
Yeah. You're not doing nothing wrong. And so it's not. I just feel like if more men were taught how to pursue women, my mother's a strong woman. Therefore, I was attracted to a strong woman. And I'm from LA, right? So I'm built different. I'm from Inglewood. I'm built different. So when I got to Texas, I saw Juliet. I laid eyes on Juliet February of '98. Thank you. She is gorgeous. So I laid eyes on Juliet February of '98. I said hi to her April of '98. I told her I liked her May of '98. I told her I was in love with her June of '98. I proposed July of '98. We got married May 1st of '99. Wow. I stated we started a friendship in April. We started talking on the phone. But in May, I realized, I want to wrap this up. Like, if she's with another, I didn't know she was dating anybody at that time or nothing. So in May, I had to risk it all, as they say nowadays, right? I had to shoot my shot. And so we were on the phone in May of '98, and I said, hey, listen, I need to tell you something. This is probably going to ruin our friendship, but you need to know. I said, I don't know if you're dating anybody. I don't know if you in a relationship. I said, but I need you to have context to the fact that I like you, because if you are dating somebody, you need to know why I'm going to be mad.
These are grown folks' conversations.
This is what I'm talking about, right? And so I stated my intentions, and I said, I like you more than a friend. I'm intrigued by you. I would like to pursue a relationship. Balls now in your. I said, I'm not asking you to reciprocate anything. I'm just telling you where I stand. Yep. Her response was, thank you for telling me. This will not ruin our relationship. She didn't even tell me she liked me. So that was not a red light. Huh? In reverse, right? Okay.
Reverse.
So that wasn't a red light. That wasn't a green light. It was yellow. So I proceeded with caution.
Right.
The next month, I told her I was in love with her. She laughed in my face.
Right.
And then she drove home. The Lord, yeah, I was still pursuing. And so she drove home that night, and we went out the next day. And I guess the Holy Spirit, her side of the story is the Holy Spirit talked to her on the way home. The next day, we went to go eat at Olive Garden. I'll never forget it. We were right off of MacArthur and 183 in Irving. And she said, man, you are so handsome. When are we getting married? And I was stupefied. I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know what changed. Is this a joke? And we just celebrated 22 years of marriage this year.
Congratulations.
How many years of marriage?
22.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, guys, you're rare with that now, okay?
But I know I am, but we have to teach these men. We have to normalize this among men, because men, when I moved to Dallas, I realized something. It was a phenomenon, because I had to, I'm a cultural architect. So I come in, I can see the structures that are built, because I need to know what I need to take down, what I need to set up, and stuff like that. When I got to Dallas, here's what I realized. The guys in the South were so laid back that it made the women more aggressive. They didn't want to be aggressive, but because the men were so laid back and were not pursuers, the women stepped into that role.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with a strong woman knowing what she wants. So please don't. This is not ladies stay in your place, wait to go hide in the corner until your husband find you. I'm not talking about that. No. But I realized that there was a cultural shift where the men were so laid back and so passive that women had to be more aggressive. Now, let's fly that up to right now. We have pornography has so destroyed men's brains and their wave patterns that they keep watching women who have been paid to have sex on the spot. Come to men, pursue men, initiate sex with men, that they get out into the real world and they like, how come you didn't ask me? How come you didn't pursue me? How come you didn't send me no nude pic? And it's like, what, sir, you just came from Bible study.
Right.
But if you come directly from Bible study and go to Pornhub, it cancels out Bible study.
Yeah, let me tell you. One day, someone, a major person, did one of those D pics on the cell phone, and someone sent it to me and did not tell me. They said, "Vicki, you need to look at this." So I clicked on it, and I saw something I didn't want to see, and I was so upset, and I knew the person too. I was so hurt and upset. I felt like I had really done something wrong, so I told my husband, because I didn't want him to look through the phone. Yeah, which he does.
Right.
Just in case.
Yeah.
This would be the first time he did. And I said, "Honey, look what somebody sent me." And, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, what is going on now?
Yeah.
We're over visually stimulated from porn to these pics coming out, and men and women doing them. And I'm not talking about the people in the world. I'm talking about people I've seen, major, well-known name in the church. And I'm looking at their private parts. And I'm just like, something got to give here.
Yeah, I agree.
But in addition to
when it gets to me, it's far.
But go ahead.
No, please.
No, I was gonna say also, there's just been a shift for like us 90 babies, where our 80 babies is that we believe this kind of like finish college and then this happens, right? And a lot of the men are still stuck in this mindset of, I have to obtain this certain level
of wealth,
of security, and I'll have all the companion that I need. This will get here. Like if I need this from this person, I'll get that. But then when I obtain this, or when my mortality starts to like get to me, and I'm like, who's gonna take care of me? Then I'll look for someone to settle down with, and that's happening. In addition to the sexual thing, is that a lot of the men that I know are just not interested in commitment.
Yeah,
pushing it off.
They're pushing it off.
Yeah,
but I say it's a man problem, and it's part of what we teach our young men. I think for men, how you do it in small groups. We have a men's group, but young men have to be mentored and taught how to be men in this society, how to be Christian men in this society.
Yes.
And one of the things is that they need to not be afraid of commitment. And I think it's better to go to have a committed relationship early, that's right, than not. Because the more
I agree.
the more as a man you put it off, the less and less you're going to be wanting to do it. So it's kind of like built into us. We put it off. And so anyway, I just said some of my crazy stuff.
Or the relationship failed and there's trauma, and so why go down that road again? You know? That's what you do when you're at this age. It's like 20, I was dealing with one push off, and 40s, it's a whole nother push off.
I'm glad you're talking about this. I really am, because it helps to inform me on what to look out for, and really what to be sharing with men and women. So this is fascinating for me. I'm learning a lot from you.
Thank you, because my group of girlfriends, beautiful, and thank God some of them now are engaged. Like, we fasted, we prayed for that. So thank God it's happening. But for a lot of the relationships, it's like they want the commitment, and their trauma shuts down somewhere, so then they just ghost. And then you're like, I was in a relationship for X amount of time. I don't know where this guy went.
Ghosted on you.
Just ghost. And so it goes back to almost like the conversation that we were talking about with Nick Cannon and Drake, and just even some of the early conversation with Michael, is that there is a lot of trauma with our Black men, and not being able to support them in society. When we get into these relationships, I can be a cheerleader and a supporter, your wife material, but not quite yet.
Mm.
And that's always the thing, because then they're just like, well, I need to fix this, and then I'll be ready, because society tells them that that's okay.
Right.
And so,
and it's not the case.
It's not the case. And it doesn't matter that my parents are here, because I was with them when they talked about sex. But for me, because I think it's important, especially for other people, to hear about my parents and their, you know, it's good, it's healthy to hear about those things. For me, I don't, it's not that I've been celibate my entire time, but I've been celibate for a really long time. And I just got a notification from my IVF person reminding me, do I want to wait my eggs? And I just was like, do you have a plan so that I don't have to spend $10,000 to hold my egg without the sperm? Because there's a risk to that. I can't put that $10,000 in I don't know. So these are the things.
Oh no, it's real.
And I don't want to have sex just because I want. Listen, it's just not that deep for me. I'm not saying that I don't want to have sex, Lord Jesus. I want to have sex, but I want to be able to have it in a commitment.
That's right.
I can have in marriage.
Yes.
Iterating that.
That's what I want. And if honest, for anybody who doesn't know me, it's honestly not because my parents are here. I would say I would be sleeping with such and such, and we would just have to work through this together as a family. But that's what we are.
Yeah, no.
He would be not happy.
That would be what it is.
Yeah, I applaud you. I applaud you for your authenticity and your transparency, because hearing you talk about this hopefully is informing some of the audience that's listening and that will listen, right? Both women and men.
Yes.
But I still believe it goes back to a man actually dealing with his trauma and getting past that. When I got with Juliet, I didn't have the night I proposed to her, she drove us to the location. I didn't have a job or a car.
Wow.
And so there's a quote I've heard about 3 times, and I let it roll around in my head, but I do believe it's true that a woman's loyalty is tested with a man when the man has nothing, and a man's loyalty is tested with a woman when the man has everything. So I think it's opposite on purpose, right? Because Juliet, because we built differently. Juliet's mom and siblings and friends were all like, that boy ain't even got, I didn't have bad credit. I had no credit. If you ran my social, nothing came up. Okay. Now I was 22. What did you expect me to have? $150,000 in the bank, a house, a car. Like, I was trying to figure it out. And Juliet was like, listen, I know he ain't got nothing right now, but this my man. Like, we getting married. Now, so I didn't have a job for the first 9 months we were married. It was a rough takeoff. 5 years, the year of our 5-year anniversary, I retired my wife from her job.
Praise God.
I figured it out. And then as I started to figure out what I was put on earth to do, and Juliet supporting that, and we're building wealth and we're building money, then the temptation for me was, am I going to stay faithful?
That part.
To the woman.
So appreciative that you're saying this.
Yeah.
Who was there when you didn't have nothing?
That's what I'm talking about. Am I going to get brand new?
Am I going to
get? Do I want to upgrade?
Right. No, my wife is my upgrade, right? And as I go up, I'm the one that's supposed to make sure she's upgraded.
That's right.
Because I got an upgrade when I got her. God gave me favor when I found her. That's Bible. Right. Okay. So it's my assignment to make sure she's upgraded with me. I put her in first class because she put me in first class.
Right. Yes.
So just thank you for sharing what you're sharing, because it gives me a perspective as I continue to talk to people and to teach, because it has to be a painful journey that you're going through, and I just empathize with you, because that sounds very frustrating.
Thank you. It is.
Yeah.
It's a real issue.
Yeah.
And a lot of women are going going through it. Black, white, but especially black women.
Especially.
And this is some of
they're, you know, like, anyway, sorry.
and I just see this is some of the statistics is that black women are marrying later and their divorce rate is higher.
That part.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's data. That's the data that's out there. And so this is the environment that you have. I'm sure there's young women, in the church, black women, but there's white women too. But they have a different set of statistics and things like that. But this is what they're dealing with. And they used to say, well, the black men. The reason why is that the black men, have to kind of catch up with their education, stuff like that. Even when they do that, they still don't marry.
Yeah, they still.
The black men don't marry.
And for me, I was a discipleship counselor, and we're telling these women, stay celibate. You don't want soul ties. You don't want this. You don't want
10 years ago.
that. And these women, all this stuff we told them, they're still alone. Pastor.
Yeah.
Well, because it also takes away.
That's very frustrating.
Well, I'm just saying that's why you have to have a personal relationship with Christ, because it would make it seem that in order to do some of these things that are the right things to do, somehow if you did it, that means you would get what you want, and that's not what it's about. Well, you keep up alive, but you call for disciples, Daddy. He didn't call for, like Bishop Over says, he called for disciples, not members of the church.
Yes.
And a lot of good comments here. Keep them coming. We're reading them, and they're incredible. We've really got people engaged with us and what we're saying.
It's just a comment too, just to go back to.
We almost
I know. There's a marriage. You got married at the age of 22, and the one thing when I think we need to also talk about the benefits of long, of youthful marriage. There's some benefits because love is like wine. It has to mature and age, and when you go through, you've been through 20 years, and that's when love really begins to grow and mature and come to a place, the way we love each other now. We've been married 40 years and we'll be 41 this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Congrats.
Thank you. And my love for her today is very different than it was, when we got married. Very different when it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
20 years ago. So I'm just saying that there's much to be said about marriage, time in marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
Not giving up quickly, going through, finding the right solutions.
Because it gets so good.
It can be difficult.
Yeah, it can be good.
Yes.
What we see people, one of the things I see that happens when I do coaching, relationship coaching and counseling is everybody leaves in winter. There are seasons to relationships. And when you meet, it's spring, right? It's like, oh, it's all new. And did you see, oh, look at his smile and look at her hair and look at, they have a little dimple and the eyes twinkle when it's Tuesday and it's a lot of pollen in the air, right? They notice everything. It's just spring, right? So spring hits, then after spring is summer. That's when stuff heats up and it gets all passionate and you can't let each other go. And right, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Then after summer comes autumn, comes fall, and stuff starts falling off. Literally, like you didn't text me back right away. You didn't call me right away. I don't feel like talking to you right now. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It just falls off a little bit. It's
hormonally things even change where
absolutely because you're coming out of dopamine and you're going into a different hormone altogether, right? Dopamine is a bonding, it's what gets you going, but that's not supposed to keep you going, right? And so you move from dopamine to oxytocin in the brain. Yes. Oxytocin is the same thing that's released when a mother breastfeeds a child, okay? And so that's the bond that's supposed to keep you together. What happens is after fall becomes winter, things get real cold. And instead of layering up to get back to spring, they break up.
That's layering up.
So nobody actually gets past winter to get back to spring. They go spring, summer, fall, break up. Spring, summer, fall, break up. Because they think they have to go find spring with somebody else, not knowing that if they would have stayed with the one they were with,
they want to stay in spring.
Yeah.
Well, they can keep having spring, summer. Well, sometimes you're gonna go through fall, but with your partner, the one you married, the wife of your youth, so to speak.
That's right. That's right.
She literally is the wife of my youth.
That's right.
This is crazy. I had many other things I wanted to talk to you about. But our time is gone past. Okay, listen. This is what we're gonna have to do. You have to come back, please, and bring your wife.
Yeah.
I'll bring her. I'll bring Juliet through. No problem.
Wait, I'm so sorry we had all kinds of stuff we need. But before you leave, we need to talk about your book and how you you're upset about everything.
Yeah, you're upset about everything, man. I see it on your shelf. Even your book is upset.
We must before we
That's something.
leave.
The book is upset. You know?
This is good. This was great. They're enjoying it. We're gonna have to get back with you. But please tell us why you upset, Pastor.
Yeah. So January 14th, 1996 is the most upsetting day of my life. It's the day I gave my life to Jesus. My whole life got turned right side up. From our perspective, upside down, but it was really turned right side up. The Bible is the most upsetting book that's ever been written. Jesus lived the most upsetting life that's ever been lived. And I feel like I've been put on the earth to do what my king did, and that is to turn people's life upside down with the message, love, and hope of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
So to that end, every day I get up in the morning, that's my goal, is to impact somebody's life, turn their life upside down so that they can understand Jesus' message, his love, and his hope.
Oh,
Amen.
thank you so much. I apologize that we ran out of time, but I hope you had a good time with us.
Oh my goodness, y'all, I'll come back anytime y'all call me. This is good. I can talk to y'all all night.
Thank you so much.
And tell Eunice, thank you so
Homeboy.
much.
I will. I definitely will.
Yeah.
Such a sweetheart. Thank
God
you.
bless you guys. I want you to remember, you can watch this show again on YouTube.
Right.
Please do go to YouTube. It's under what? Vicki Mack.
Mack.
Vicki Mack Lataillade.
Vicki Mack Lataillade. And I do want to thank everybody again. I don't know if you know about this, Pastor, but my husband and I like to dance.
Hey.
So we did this little dance to that, food challenge.
The breakfast
Yeah.
challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And
The
we
breakfast
reached
challenge.
1 million viewers.
Yeah.
Not when we're saying deep stuff, but when we're dancing. So we want to thank everybody for that. Please go on YouTube.
Yeah,
Please.
for followers, people to follow us and to continue to bless us in that way.
And
God.
please watch Pastor Tim Ross on all the platforms.
Yes.
He's amazing. I love how he doesn't dress like a pastor. He's all dressed all cool and everything. He's got a beautiful wife. And you can see why he's upset and talking about everything. So please go out and support this wonderful young man of God.
Amen.
It gives us hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you all so much. Thank you for the time.
Be
Thank
blessed,
you.
man. Be blessed.
All
Praise
right.
God.
Pastor Ross.
Bye.
Thank you.
82, that's like 80.
Hello.
Hello, what's
Thank
up?
you so much for watching Carfitable
Yes,
Talks.
thank you.
Please remember to press that like button, and we need you to subscribe. And also,
Leave some comments. Really need to hear from you.
thank you.